A little update. Last year, I have graduated university. It was a Zoom graduation, so you're not missing out on anything. I have moved as well, and now I am at the phase of floating around aimlessly with job, trying to figure out life, and actually starting to be a real adult and failing semi-terribly. As COVID restrictions whittle after 2 years of quarantining, naturally more people emerge from their houses, including myself. There was a period of time where I almost feel guilty staying in, even if I stay in quite often pre-COVID. I'm sure most can relate. There was so many more fun things to do aside from hustling and making a game. So I'm kinda glad at that point the whole initial playable build for Dorian Pink was almost complete, because if not, it would take a lot of motivation for me to get past the final sprint to completion. I don't want to abandon this project that I believed in, and which for more than a year I put effort into making a reality. Making a game was keeping me sane during quarantine life, but funnily, now that we don't have to quarantine, making a game has the opposite effect. My whole social life has recovered, the food shops are open, my belly demands nourishment, my plans to hop around places resumed, I'm happy. There is no time for me to be making a game, come on now. So that's what I did. For 5 months until now, I barely touched Godot. On the occasions I dragged myself to the desk, it was hard to continue. You know, the new season of Stranger Things, the mind corroding, Life is Blind, Rick and Morty, my dog eating his own shit. The distraction of everything else but my game was too hard to resist. Sometime during the third month, month 3, a point in which the burnout lasted long enough to cause concern, I wondered, is this the end of my passion with games? I mean, I have always known living life is bigger than chummy things like the societal construct of passion to me, but I was also getting nervous. How can all of that momentum and effort and time and anguish and pride just peter out into an unsatisfying nothing? All my friends and family know I'm making a game. Every time they ask about it, I tell them, it takes a long time to make a game. Don't ask me every week. But they still do it though, and it's stressful. Sure, it's true that making a game takes a long time. It's not just about making it and then launching it just for the few supportive but absolutely non-gamer family members to play. But I guess I didn't expect Burnout to take as big a portion of the pie in the game dev timeline that it has. So, is this the end of my game dev journey? Remember when I told you I'm currently an amorphous blob of floating around aimlessly with job, trying to figure out life, and actually starting to be a real adult and failing semi-terribly? Turns out, this happiness of a social life, Netflix, and adventures, with its ups and downs of course, as with everything, is not sustainable without meaning. The reason I started making games was because I didn't find meaning in continuing to be a graphic designer. I don't know how I can make my mark in the world with commercial posters for hamburgers. Sure, it's doable for someone else, but I don't know if I personally would be fulfilled doing that. Making games that tell stories I believe should exist in the world was my way of making meaning in my life and hopefully in others too. At least it needed to have a significant degree of importance for it to almost single-handedly carry me through 2 years of quarantine. So the scale between meaning and happiness has been thrown off balance for a while. For a large part of 2 years, I focused just on making something meaningful. It was only natural that now, like an elastic band, there is a bounce back. At this point, I need to introduce meaning into my life to feel less like a lost, floating, amorphous blob. These months I have been away from YouTube. Some comments on my videos sometimes come trickling in about how my tutorials helped you guys and to never stop what I'm doing. And every single one pushed me little by little back towards creating meaning. It's okay sometimes if the scale tips a certain way, I suppose. At some point they have to come into balance again to make you feel fulfilled enough. It's okay if you don't constantly think about marketing for your game, social media, the next devlog, the next bug, the next tutorial on your watch later list, especially if you're a solo dev. Think about cheese, think about grass, think about ice cream. It doesn't mean progress is going backwards. You don't have to do anything beyond making a game. You don't even have to make a good game. Sure, since you're spending so much effort and time doing something, you would hope that it's perfect, or at least as good as you can make it. That's very valid, and we should all strive for that. I'm not really sure at this moment, but the burnouts don't seem like they'll ever end permanently, ever. Maybe it's just an inevitable part of the process. I can say this because I know indie game dev is a passion-driven place. Just remember, all you have to do is to make a game, whether it fulfills the happiness quota or the meaning quota for you. Everyone's process is different, just like every game's dialogue system is. I'm pretty nihilistic by nature, and because nothing really matters in the world, everything does. You have to make up some sort of purpose for yourself and believe it. That will anchor you to real life. This probably got a bit too philosophical for a game dev video, but if you're making a game, good luck, and don't fuck it up. Thank you for your support in Discord and on YouTube. I honestly wouldn't have bounced back so quickly without all the comments you give me under my video. This goes without saying, like and subscribe if you want to see more of this talking poop. And before you go, my Narrative Choices Matter adventure game, The Secret Life of Dorian Pink, has a prologue free to play on Steam now. I would appreciate it greatly if you give it a try and hop into Discord to tell us what you think. Thanks for stopping by!